side throw, touchdown! Kansas City, a 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime. Kansas City wins the game.
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Very excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Friday, taking you up until 4:30 when we hand things off to Josh Vernier, and you guys will once again get to hear the Royals score one or maybe no runs today in their game against the Detroit Tigers. We will catch up with Vern coming up in about an hour or so. He'll be on at 3 o'clock to get you ready for finishing up their weekend series against the Detroit Tigers. We are going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL Draft. We are now less than a week away from the start of the NFL Draft. We'll continue to get you ready here on 96.5 The Fan. But before we do that, I need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you to listen to The Drive every day at 2 o'clock. And number two, I need you to tell one friend. You know what? It would be great if you guys could tell 2 friends about the show, but you know what? Beggars cannot be choosers. If you could just tell one person to check out the show, you know what? I would appreciate it. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we are going to play my conversation with Trevor Sikkema. He is the lead draft analyst at Pro Football Focus. They have a big board up of 350 players. So if you want to start the process of being up to date on the players in this year's NFL Draft, Pro Football Focus is a great place to start. Next week, we are going to have Matt Miller join us on the show, friend of the show. Let me read to you something that he posted today on ESPN. I have heard that the Kansas City Chiefs are actively looking up to trade up in round 1 in the draft. They signed left tackle Jalen Moore in free agency, but otherwise they've been mostly quiet, opting to resign their own versus hitting the open market. A move up in round 1 would likely be for a long-term offensive tackle solution. I hear that the goal would be to move somewhere in the mid-20s in front of the Houston Texans and also the Los Angeles Rams if the Chiefs like a specific left tackle on the board. This goes in line with what we talked to Trevor Sikkema about, and we'll play that conversation for you in its entirety. He believes that if you are going to move up in this draft, there is only one position to do it for. It's for left tackle.
If you want an offensive tackle, if that is what you want, you should draft one at the back end of the first round, because it just becomes much more difficult to find a starting caliber offensive tackle, even one who might wait his turn a little bit when he gets into the league a little bit later in the draft. Whereas defensive linemen, edge rushers, defensive tackles, I think that Kansas City could absolutely find those guys on day 2, even in the later portions of round 2 and round 3.
Rob, this is where I would like to begin the conversation today, and then we'll play the conversation with Trevor Sikkema. I think the Chiefs have 2 sort of roads that they can go down. I think we are starting to narrow this thing down. I think there's enough conversation. I don't think the Chiefs are taking a wide receiver in round 1. Now, I would love it for them to take Luther Burden, and I think Luther Burden might be the best wide receiver in this year's draft class, but I'm not sure if that's the direction they're going to go. I don't see them taking a running back in round 1. Maybe they go get a corner, but I do think that we have narrowed it down enough to where the Chiefs are either going to take an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman in this year's draft class. These are what I think the 2 options are on the board for the Chiefs. If the Chiefs take a left tackle or a right tackle this year, you are once again deciding to redshirt a first-round pick. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing for this year's team. You sign Jalen Moore, you owe it to yourself to see what he can provide. There's nothing you can do about Jawan Taylor for this year. You are not cutting him. You are not trading him. He is going to be on your team, and he is going to be starting. So you are acknowledging this is a pick for the future. This is a player that we are going to stash. We are going to redshirt. In a football sense, we have our quarterback, but he's a senior. We're going to bring in this freshman. We're going to let him redshirt, and then next year we are going to hand you the red jersey, and now you are going to lead this team. That's what taking an offensive lineman to me means in the first round. I don't think we are looking at them drafting someone who was going to play left guard for this team. I don't think that this is a replacement for Kingsley Suamataia. I believe that you are drafting a tackle, and he is your break in case of emergency in 2025, and you are looking for a place for him to start in 2026, and more than likely that is replacing Jawan Taylor as his contract gets too expensive and you move on from him. Or, on the other side of the coin, you are looking at somebody that you think you need immediate day one help at pass rush. If you were going to take the swing and flyer and wait, I'd much rather you take it on the offensive end where it looks like there are a group of guys that make sense on the back half of that first round. Maybe it's Joshua Connerly Jr., who came from Oregon. Maybe you're getting the Kelvin Banks kid from Texas. Maybe you're going out and Joshua Simmons is going to fall to you in the draft. There appears to be 3 or 4 names that are going to be around if you want to move up to 23, 24, if you potentially want to wait to 31 and be able to draft an offensive lineman. But if you go D-line, you were telling me that you think this guy can help you play this year. You think you are a little bit thin up front, and you are expecting him to be a contributor for this year. I don't think you can afford to draft a guy on the defensive side and stash him the way that you can on the offensive side. I think this team needs an additional pass rusher for this upcoming season. Maybe Charles Omenihu being back, he's healthy the full year, that gives you a little bit of a punch. But I think on the DN side, I think they're a little bit thin, especially if you continue to get from Felix what you've gotten the first couple of years early on in his career. I think you need another option in that defensive line room that can prove that they can get to the quarterback a little bit. And if you're going to address that, I don't think you can address that in the 3rd round or the 4th round. I think you're going to need to spend a premium pick. I think we are narrowing this thing down that the Chiefs are more than likely going to use their first pick on someone on the offensive line. I think there are 2 options then. Are you looking to redshirt somebody and you are looking to draft for the 2026 draft class? I would understand that if that's what you do. Hey, the value is too good. We know that we can't find a spot for Joshua Simmons right now, Kelvin Banks right now, but we have to start looking to the future and secure either our left or right tackle, and we're willing to buy something now in order to use it later. Or we think we need immediate day one help at this position, and we planned on drafting somebody that we think week 1 against whomever we end up playing, we think that guy can help us. As we are less than a week away, those are the 2 options that I think are standing before the Chiefs.
I agree those are 2 options. And Matt Miller will be on the show Monday. He is a lot better at this than I am. But I'll tell you this. If the Chiefs are taking O-line, it is in lockstep with everything they've done this offseason, because that would be a sign of them yet again this offseason saying, we're fine, let's look for the future. Because everything the Chiefs have done, Carrington, has been on the impression of in 2024, we were fine. We're bringing back Hollywood Brown. We're bringing back Trey Smith. We're bringing back Nick Bolton. We're bringing back, we were fine. The Super Bowl was just 1 game. We've talked about a lot on this show, how the Chiefs have treated this offseason of the sample size of 18, 19 games. That's who we really are. We had 1 bad day in New Orleans. We're not going to overreact to that. That is how they have operated all offseason long. And if they are taking a redshirt left or redshirt right tackle, because he's not going to start over Jawan Taylor, and it would be unlikely, in my opinion, somebody they draft at 31 is starting over Jalen Moore. That would be in tune, in keeping with how they've treated the offseason, which is we're fine. Let's look for the future. I would disagree. I would go pass rush. I would go Nolan from Ole Miss. I would go edge and get stronger there. And, hey, maybe this kid's better than Omenihu. That's what I would be doing. But their offseason philosophy has been, we're good. Don't worry about it. You saw us good last season. And drafting a redshirt tackle would be in lockstep with that mindset.
I think you make a really good point about their offseason philosophy and what a lot of these moves mean. The Chiefs did not re-sign a lot of these players to 2-year deals. Other than Jalen Moore, and if you look at the way that it's structured, there is an ejection that you can have after year 1 if things don't work. This team probably has 8 to 10 significant pieces for the 2025 season that are locked up in 1-year deals. A drafting of an offensive lineman, to me, continues to signify that the Chiefs are expecting a transition in 2026. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to be a bad team or take a step back, but the Chiefs are looking in 2026 to be more of a youth-led team, and as Patrick Mahomes is getting closer to 30 and will hit 30, we are looking to put more young 20-somethings around him. We're moving on from the older Travis Kelce's. We're moving on from Hollywood Brown. We're moving on from these guys, and we're really going to try to load up on young players on rookie contracts and really try to take advantage. I think they have kind of given themselves a let's run it back for this season with the team that won 17 games last year, but we are starting to eye the future just a bit, and we're going to try to put ourselves in position where 2026, we are going to be a very different foundation from the one that fans are accustomed to. Coming up on the other side, we will play our conversation with Trevor Sikkema in its entirety. It is really good stuff. It is some national stuff about Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, and also very specific to the Chiefs and getting you ready for round one of the NFL draft. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, baseball fans, there's no better place to bet the long ball than BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Swing big on your home run bet with BetMGM's Home Run Boost token. No opt-in is required. Just log in to your BetMGM account to receive your Home Run Boost token. Then activate your token when you place a bet on any player to hit a home run. If that player goes yard, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is the best place to bet the long ball. Don't miss your chance to claim your MLB Home Run Boost token. The action is on deck at BetMGM, the king of the big swing. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
If you're like me and you're trying to break through that boring lunch routine, I've got the option for you. I discovered lunch at Hy-Vee Market Grill. Forget the after-lunch fast food coma. The Hy-Vee Market Grill offers fast and fresh options with made-to-order burgers, salads, sandwiches, and wraps, like the 3-cheese patty melt, the crispy chicken or Cobb salad, BLT or tenderloin sandwich, and my personal favorite, the peanut butter bacon burger. For high quality and great value, freshen up your lunch routine at the Hy-Vee Market Grill today.
Hop into Hy-Vee for all your Easter needs, like baskets, candy, chocolate bunnies, and more. Treat your family to Easter brunch at the Market Grill. Just $24.99 for adults, $7.99 for children, and kids 5 and under eat free. Staying home? Try Hy-Vee's Easter meal deal for just $30. Get all the fixins you need to feed your ducklings spiral sliced ham, russet potatoes and gravy, green bean casserole, and bakery fresh rolls. Make this your most excellent Easter ever, only at Hy-Vee.
You better get the grass pat's own crabgrass control solution. Don't let that crabgrass take hold of the yard. Get the grass pat's prevent defense and hit 'em fast and hard. You'll see nary a crabgrass, and brother, that's a fact. So come on down to the grass pad and give those weeds a whack. Ha! Come on down to the grass pad. The grass pad's high on grass.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for University Housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Catchy tune, right? But don't let the urge to sing along distract you from the truck drifting towards your lane, or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you. And Hyundai has over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't... IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
I'm Rhett. And I'm Link. And we're the hosts of the podcast Ear Biscuits. We're just two lifelong friends who've been talking about life for a long time.
From being dads to businessmen to all the random things we experience, nothing is off limits.
And now we're talking to you. We're answering your questions, giving advice that you may or may not want to take, and listening to your hilarious stories.
So leave us a voicemail to be part of the show at
1-888-EARPOD-1 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. We are less than a week away from the start of the NFL Draft. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by the Pro Football Focus draft analyst, Trevor Sikkema, joins us on the show today. Trevor, how you doing today, my man?
I am doing fantastic. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. We're going to bounce back and forth between national and local. We will focus in on the Kansas City Chiefs, but let's start with this. I think the biggest question in this year's draft is, where is Shedeur Sanders going to go? So I'll ask you the question. Where do you think he's going to land?
That's $1 million question, right? I feel pretty confident that it's still going to be somewhere in the first round. I really just don't know. If I had to place, if I had to place some pride, some money on the line right now, I guess I would say the New Orleans Saints at number 9, just because it feels like it's the safest prediction to have of him. I still am not convinced the Giants are going to take him at number 3, despite the private meeting and the pro workout for him in New York this past week. I'm just not convinced that that's going to happen. I feel as though if we were leaning towards that being the case, we would have known a little bit more about that situation right now. And so if it does end up happening, I wonder if we had a little bit of ownership meddling here at the very end, making sure that they get a quarterback that they feel good about for the future. But the Saints certainly need a quarterback long-term. I think that we know that. And then the Steelers, who knows what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. I think them picking at number 21 in the first round, that could be a potential spot for them too. And if he happens to get past the Steelers, I got to think one of the Giants, the Cleveland Browns, somebody is going to trade back up into the first round to get him. So I do still think he's going in the first round, but those are all the possibilities, and I feel like it's kind of wide open for him right now.
What do you like about Shedeur as a prospect when you're breaking down his college film? What do you dislike about him? What would make him potentially fall in the draft?
Yeah, so when I look at the pros and cons, which everybody can see at the PFF draft guide, you can go over to pff.com and see all that and so much more. The things that I like about him is you can tell that he's grown up around the game. Even if you take the name Deion Sanders out of it, you can tell that he has grown up around the game of football at a very high level. His fundamentals, I think, are fantastic all the way from his footwork throughout his throwing motion. It's all very married up. It's very in sync. He gets the most out of the arm talent that he has, and then certainly he knows how to read things pre- and post-snap. I think he recognizes defenses, respects defenses. Certainly he needs to get a little bit better when it comes to that pressure-to-sack conversion ratio. He took way too many of them the last couple of years, but I think that that's something that can get a little bit better in the NFL. So I think he plays a very clean brand of football and just understands the game at a pretty high level. The thing that holds him back from being somebody that I would be taking in the first round is the overall arm talent. I'd compare him, my pro comp for him is Teddy Bridgewater. And I don't think that that's as big of a knock as some people out there might think that it is. Teddy Bridgewater, when he was coming out of Louisville, ice in his veins, great fundamentals, knew how to read defenses, tough as nails under pressure. But Teddy didn't have the best arm out there. And I think that it's very on par with where Shedeur Sanders is. And I think if Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have that catastrophic knee injury that he had in Minnesota, we're still potentially talking about him as a starting quarterback. Now, would he have ever been a tier 1, tier 2 starting quarterback? That's where I maybe push back on that a little bit, and that's where my hesitation with Sanders comes into play. Because even in a perfect situation, is he ever going to be an individual tier 1 or tier 2 quarterback in the NFL? I think it's possible that he could get into that tier 2 in the right situation, but he doesn't have the type of arm talent that really stands out, that really gets you out of trouble, that can – you feel great about going one-on-one against some of these aliens, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, guys like that. It's hard to see him it's hard to bet on him going one-on-one against those guys. And I know it's a team game, but that's something that you think about when you're drafting a franchise-caliber quarterback. So those are my pros and cons for Shedeur Sanders.
Right now, we're talking to Trevor Sikkema. He is the lead draft analyst for Pro Football Focus. We're going to bounce back and forth between national and also cover the Chiefs here in a bit. I'm looking at your big draft board on PFF. You have Cam Ward as the 21st overall prospect, but he is going to go number 1 overall. It sounds like you are not in love with Cam Ward as a prospect to have him so low on your big board.
Yeah, he is somebody who, look, the floor is probably lower than you want it to be for a number 1 overall pick at quarterback, right? I mean, there are still things that he needs to work out. Some of the best games, some of the best moments that we have from Cam Ward this past season were him digging out of holes that he dug himself. He holds the shovel in both instances. And I think that that is something that you have to think about with him. So when I think about Cam Ward, and the reason why I still have him number 1 on my quarterback rankings and why I am okay with the Titans taking him at number 1 overall is because at least he gives you the ceiling. At least he gives you a Pro Bowl, all-pro caliber ceiling that he could potentially hit there, because his best moments are that of quarterbacks that are major difference makers in the NFL. So that is sort of how I view Cam Ward, and I think that it's certainly the bust rate, if you will, if you want to use that term, maybe a little bit higher than a guy that you would want to take number 1 overall, but at least the ceiling is there to bet on.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at your big board. You have Travis Hunter as the number 1 player on the board, but you don't mention him as a wide receiver, at least on this page. You mention his ability as a corner, and I agree with you. I think he is a chance to be an all-pro corner. I think we are looking at one of the truly most unique and talented players ever. Is that where you see him better positioned as a corner? But I think we also know with Travis Hunter, you get a lot more than that. He's going to be able to help you in the pass game. How do you view him as a wide receiver?
Yeah, so I think that if he gets drafted by the Cleveland Browns, which seems like that's going to be the case at number 2 overall, it seems as though they're mostly in on him as a wide receiver. And so we're going to get a lot of snaps, and we're going to get a good look at him as a wide receiver prospect in the NFL. Now, I still think that Cleveland, who their general manager, Andrew Berry, called Travis Hunter a Shohei Ohtani type of player, and anytime that you're doing anything like that, you better believe that they're going to give him the chance to play both sides of the ball. I would be playing him full-time at corner and then allowing him to have 10 to 15 snaps a game at wide receiver. That is the plan that I would have for Travis Hunter, because I think that's how you maximize his talent. I'm not so sure you'd be able to do the opposite, play him full-time at wide receiver and then just have him a handful of snaps per game, just go out there and try to manufacture chemistry with the rest of the defensive group. So I think that he is talented enough to play both sides. I agree with you. I think that he is more unique at the cornerback position, the footwork, the length, the ball skills. I think that his build and who he is as a player is more rare as a corner. And I think that we kind of saw the same thing with, like a guy like Champ Bailey when he was coming out of Georgia, obviously found a home at cornerback in the NFL. But Champ played both ways when he was at Georgia. He played as a wide receiver. He had a handful of starts at wide receiver. But obviously he ended up being a corner because I think the NFL looked at him like that and said, hey, you could have a bigger impact here because you were a more unique talent at the cornerback position. So that's sort of how I would encapsulate Travis Hunter. But to be honest with you, I would not put any restrictions on this guy. I would give him a full plate when he gets to the NFL and say, until you prove that you can't play both positions at a full-time level, I'm going to let you do it. And he seems to have the work ethic and the drive to want to do that.
So let's look at your big board. You have 2 Missouri products going in your top 15. You have Armand Membo, the very talented offensive tackle. You also have Luther Burden. Let's start, I guess, a 2-part question. Do you see Membo as the best offensive lineman on your board? And with Luther Burden, it feels like the shine is off him a little bit, where I've seen some mocks that have him in the first round. I see some mocks that don't have him in the first round. Do you think he has solidified himself? Do you think he's going to be drafted on Thursday?
I don't know. And I think that it's crazy that I have to say that, because I think he's one of the most talented players in the class. Very clearly, with me having him still as a top 20 player, I think he should absolutely be drafted in the first round. But there seems to be some reservation. I wonder if it's just from a lot of the 2024 tape that didn't exactly have him running a diverse amount of routes. Certainly the production wasn't there like it was in 2023, but I just think that was much more of a product of the rest of the offense around him, and not necessarily things that Luther Burden wasn't doing nearly as well or can't do in the NFL. So I'd be taking him in the first round, but he definitely seems like somebody who is that fringe first-round prospect at this point, might not make it into the first round when it comes to next Thursday. In terms of Armand Membo, he's one of the best offensive tackles in the class, in my opinion. I know a lot of people have him as OT1. I still have Will Campbell from LSU ranked ahead of him. I still have him as my top offensive lineman in the class. But Membo and then Josh Simmons from Ohio State, those are the 2 that I probably feel the best about. Okay, if you need a tackle and you don't want to worry about whether or not Will Campbell has the length to be a tackle at the NFL level, you'd be taking one of those 2 guys. And so, I think that the New York Jets at number 7, I think the San Francisco 49ers at number 11, those are ideal landing spots for Membo, if not maybe even number 4 overall for the Patriots.
So let's move specifically to the Kansas City Chiefs. If you look at the gambling odds, it seems very likely that they're going to take somebody who plays on the line of scrimmage, whether it's the offensive line or whether it's defensive line. Where do you think the first-round grade gives you better value? Do you think it's on the offensive side or the defensive side of the line of scrimmage?
Well, I think specifically the way that I would answer this question is, if you want an offensive tackle, if that is what you want, you should draft one at the back end of the first round, because it just becomes much more difficult to find a starting caliber offensive tackle, even one who might wait his turn a little bit when he gets into the league a little bit later in the draft. Whereas defensive linemen, edge rushers, defensive tackles, I think the Kansas City could absolutely find those guys on day 2, even in the later portions of round 2 and round 3. So if it's all sort of the same, and you say to yourself, if Brett Veach says, hey, we want to come out of this draft with a couple of defensive players, and we want to come up with an option that we have maybe long-term at offensive tackle, I'd tell you the best course of action is most likely to prioritize offensive tackle at the back end of the first round, and then being able to get some contributing players, potentially even some starters on a deep defensive line class a little bit later on day 2.
The player who has been most mocked to Kansas City is Josh Simmons. Do you think he'll be on the board whenever Kansas City selects?
I actually don't. I think that there are too many teams that need offensive tackles, and I think that Josh Simmons' film was too good last year before he got hurt. Now, obviously, he suffers a meniscus tear, misses most of that season with the Buckeyes, does not get to contribute to their national championship run. So you have to take that into account. But, hey, as long as the medicals are all checking out, and it seems like they are, we haven't gotten any reports of like, these teams are flagging Josh Simmons' knee. It's not recovering the way they want it to. I haven't heard any of that. And, in fact, Josh Simmons has said himself, he's like, yeah, I seem to be pretty ahead of schedule right now, should be good to go for next season. And if that's the case, to me, his tape was too damn good at the beginning of last season for him to make it all the way to the back end of the first round. I just think that those top-tier offensive tackles, the ones that could be franchise-caliber offensive tackles, even in just potential, they almost never get to the back end of the first round. So I think Kansas City would love for him to make it there. I don't think he does.
Well, who do you think could potentially be on the board for them at 31, or do you think the Chiefs are going to have to package some picks and move up? Maybe you're looking at a guy like Josh Connerly, who came out of Oregon. I'm sure there's a couple of other options. Let's say that Simmons goes off the board earlier than people anticipate. Let's say he goes off the board at 18, for example. What do you think the Chiefs' next course of action should be?
Yeah, I think Connerly, the guy that you mentioned there, is a realistic target for them. I think he could absolutely be there for them at the back end of the first round. Maybe there's a chance that, a guy like Kelvin Banks drops a little bit and you get within range, maybe get to trade up and draft him. Depending on how you view Donovan Jackson, I view him much more as a guard than I do an offensive tackle. So I wouldn't really consider him at that spot unless they wanted an interior, which I don't think that they would. I think that Connerly is the name that I just continue to come back to. And if you want to wait until the end of the second round, maybe you have a chance to take a guy like Ariante Ursary, the tackle from Minnesota, maybe an Ozzie Trapillo from Boston College. Perhaps they view Wyatt Milam maybe as an offensive tackle, but I think he is also somebody who probably projects best to guard, as does Jonas Savanaia from Arizona, maybe Marcus Mbow, who I think could be a better interior player than a tackle. So it just you get a lot of tweeners. The longer you let this draft go, you get a lot of tweeners in the offensive line, and so I'd probably pick the guy that I feel best about, at least sticking at offensive tackle there at the back end of the first.
Let's say that the Chiefs disagree with your stance, and let's say that they are hyper-focused on taking a pass rusher there. You want to put somebody alongside George Karlaftis. You want to put somebody alongside Charles Omenihu and Chris Jones. Who are some good possible fits on the back half of that first round that could help you on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I think that they'll have the opportunity to pick a good player there if they want, right? Like an edge rusher like Braden Swinton, for example, from LSU, is somebody who I think the league could be pretty high on. Maybe a JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. Those guys there on the edge could make sense. Yeah, maybe a guy like Landon Jackson gives you that length, that uniqueness that I feel as though the Chiefs continue to gravitate towards at that position. Maybe even a Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. These are players who I think all could potentially be available for them at the back end of the first round. If you want to go more towards the interior, I love an Omar Norman-Lott. I think he'd be awesome next to Chris Jones. He is somebody from Tennessee who he's a little bit shorter. He's a little bit sawed off, if you will. Doesn't have the great length, but man, he's got an incredible first step. He's somebody that really knows how to convert speed to power. He can win very quickly. 88.3 pass rush grade against true passing sets last year. Wasn't used very much as a run defender, so might be a little one-dimensional when you draft him, but you could potentially mold him into that three-down player when you have him playing next to a guy like Chris Jones. Maybe a Darius Alexander from Toledo as well, who had a really good final season, a little bit older of a prospect, but somebody who played great this past year in the MAC and then played very well at the Senior Bowl as well. He was one of the major standouts and somebody that was getting some first-round buzz after his week in Mobile. So I think those are a handful of players that you're thinking about there at the back end of the first two.
Brett Veach a couple of days ago did his, pre-draft press conference, and he said that he believes that running back is the deepest class in this year's NFL draft. I think the Chiefs desperately need to add to that room when you think about the lack of explosiveness that they had last season. Also, if you're looking at it from a financial roster building standpoint, they don't have any running back under contract for next season. So you're going to have to start to think ahead a little bit. Where do you think the best value for the Chiefs is to pick a running back? I don't have them taking a running back in round one. I'd be very surprised if they did that. But I do think at some point over the weekend they will take a running back.
Yeah, I think that it's probably round 2 or round 3, right? That seems to be the sweet spot for the position and the value and how much of an impact player you could get. The two guys that I look at for them, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee and then Travion Henderson from Ohio State. Those are the two that I think can complement their room the best as it is currently constructed. So I think that even for next year, they're able to get in the lineup. They can really produce the way that they need to. They give them the speed element that's missing from that room right now. And then moving forward, I think both of those guys could be early down backs as well, not just speed backs, but players who can obviously be dynamic and difference-making for them, and you could really totally lean on them in any situation. So I think it is. It's round 2, it's round 3, and the two names that keep coming to for the Chiefs that make the most sense are Dylan Sampson and Travion Henderson.
Where else do you see needs for the Kansas City Chiefs? Are you seeing it at wide receiver? Are you seeing it at another position on the field? When you kind of look at this team and evaluate what they need to do, I've seen other draft analysts call this a starter draft, that you can pick up 3 or 4 quality starters out of this draft. Where do you think the Chiefs need to benefit the most this draft cycle?
Yeah, I think that wide receiver, being able to pick up wide receiver, I think could make sense for them. I know they've got a handful of guys that they like, but a lot of them are sort of the same mold. Maybe getting a bigger body guy in there that they trust a little bit more in those contested catch situations. I know the tight end room is pretty deep to be able to do that, but maybe you can get yourself a wide receiver there as well. It's a pretty decent cornerback class, and I think that they'll have the opportunity to get an extra corner in there, an extra secondary member. I think one of those players could make sense for them. But honestly, this is just a big draft, in my opinion, for them to invest in the trenches. It's been some changes for them over the last couple of off seasons, really trying to figure out how we solidify the trenches. And this team very much knows that their championship runs were certainly fueled by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, but also what they're able to do in the trenches on both sides of the ball. So you're replacing Joe Thuney. Obviously, Trey Smith is back, but it's on a franchise tag type of a deal. So, making sure that the offensive line stays the way that it needs to. You're hoping that Kingsley Suamataia can play well for you at guard, but that's not something that's 100%, or you're hoping that it happens. But you just got to make sure the trenches are as good as they possibly can be. So maybe corners, wide receivers you're taking a look at. Running back, obviously, we touched on, but trenches. It's got to be a big trench draft for the Chiefs.
Last thing here, Trevor, and we appreciate your time. Every year, there is something that surprises us in the draft. Last year, it was the Atlanta Falcons with Michael Penix Jr. going 8th overall. If you had to call your shot, if you had to have a bold prediction, a bold take, what do you think that's going to be next Thursday? What's going to be the number one storyline heading into Friday?
Man, certainly how the quarterbacks go will determine everything. I still only think that we're getting 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Maybe I'll say that we're getting 3 running backs in the first round this year. I don't know how bold of a call that is, or if it's not bold enough, but I think we're getting more than 2.5. Right now I see that the betting markets have it right around 2.5, and I think we're getting 3. Right? There's too many times that we bring up Omari and Hampton's name, and there's too many teams that really like Omari and Hampton. Okay, there's 2. That's him and Ashton Genty, and then man, if everybody's sitting here saying like, oh yeah, we'll easily get Quinshon Judkins or Travion Henderson or Caleb Johnson or one of those guys in the second round. Well, if that many teams want him in the second round, maybe somebody's going to be willing to take him in the first as well. So I will say my bold prediction is we're getting 3 running backs in the first round this year.
That is Trevor Sikkema joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work for Pro Football Focus. He is their lead draft analyst. Be sure to check out their website. They have a big board of 300 players on there. If you want to stay up to date on everything happening with the NFL draft, Pro Football Focus is a great place to start. Trevor, you guys do fantastic work. We got a lot of respect for you guys on this show. We really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That is Trevor Sikkema getting you ready for next week's NFL draft. Certainly a lot to break down. Rob, let me ask you this question. Now, I would not be mad if they do this, but I just want to kind of get a sense if you would be mad. You and I are on the same page. I don't want them to spend a first-round draft pick on a running back. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I think you would look at it like that, but I would not consider it to be the worst thing that could possibly happen. The Chiefs have picked 31, 63, 66, 95, and 133. So they have 4 picks in the top 100. I don't think they're going to spend pick 31 on a skill position player. I do think there is a possibility at 63 or 66, one of those 2, I expect them to draft a running back or a wide receiver. Let's focus in on running back. Let's say that they spend, and I would say that's a pretty significant pick. If you're going to spend a top 75 pick on a running back, I think you have made a solid investment in the position. I will not be mad if that happens. On a scale from 1 to 10, how mad will you be if that happens?
If it's 63 or 66 on a scale of 1 to 10, 5.5, 5, I would want to know the name. Like, that would be part of it. Like, if they're getting a guy there that like Dylan Sampson's a guy I like, maybe you get him in the early 3rd.
I think that's going to be possible.
I would have no complaints. Trayvon Henderson, a name that Sikkema mentioned, he's a name I have no problem with getting. Like, there are some names that would squelch my frustration, but if they're taking, pick a guy, they overdraft a running back. Name a guy that you think's more of a
RJ Harvey.
There you go. If they took him at 63, then yeah, my anger would jump. But as long as it's not round 1, I don't mind using a draft pick on a running back. I would also be angry if they turned down a edge rusher at that position for a running back, but that's all situational. I would say 5 to 5.5.
Okay. Doesn't sound like you would be that mad then. I would not be mad at all. Like, I would be at a 0 if they do it. In fact, I will be very happy. If they want me to read the card for them in Green Bay, I will happily do it. With the 63rd overall pick, the Kansas City Chiefs have selected Dylan Sampson, running back, Tennessee. I'll be thrilled to announce that. And when you guys see the highlights and the footage from Sampson and you saw how he dominated the SEC last year, I think you too will also be very excited that the Chiefs have found themselves a potential long-term solution at running back. Coming up on the other side, we are 1 day away from the start of the NBA playoffs. I wrote down my favorite NBA bets. I know some of you like to play on the apps. Why don't you let me help you, and why don't we try to make money together this NBA postseason? I'll get to it next. Keep it right here, so drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium pound drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent pound drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent pound drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during the basketball playoffs with their Extender promo. With the Extender, you can play your way into increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts. Underdog is now available to play in Missouri, and their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, and you can mix and match across other sports like I like to do. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
Big cash giveaway, yeah. 250 grand, yes. The next 10 months, GimmeTheVin.com is giving back. Everyone that sells us their car gets put in the drawing, and monthly we're pulling out 25 grand and giving it to you. So, not only are we the top of the market buyer, but you got a chance to win 25 grand. That's what we mean by big cash giveaway. GiveMeTheVin.com. They don't call us America's best car buyer for nothing.
No purchase necessary. For official rules, go to GiveMeTheVin.com.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain clearing special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
John always listens to his truck. So when his brakes start talking, he goes to AutoZone, where a helpful AutoZoner gets him the right parts. If John has time to put them in, he borrows a kit with Loan-A-Tool. And if he doesn't, he gets a free shop referral. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool. Restrictions apply.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Red Hot Car Giveaway, only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th, one lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, two winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and one person will win $10,000 cash. And one person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This afternoon, expect cloudy skies with a slight chance of rain and a high of 73.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Our recruiters' expertise and award-winning AI will find you the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
This is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Chiefs football.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Josh Vernier. We'll get his thoughts on all things Royals. I believe the Royals have won 2 times since the last time I've talked to Josh Vernier. We'll see if us coming together can maybe spur some winning ways for the Kansas City Royals. All right. We're going to do today's NBA section a little bit different than how we usually do it. Now, we certainly will have more things to respond to on Monday because there will be games that will have played. I have no interest in the 1 seed playoffs on either side. Boston is going to take care of their matchup. Also, the same thing for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So maybe you're watching the play-in game today.
First off, Boston's not the 1 seed. Don't be trying to give Boston some extra juice
My bad.
over there.
Cleveland is the 1 seed. Boston is playing the Orlando Magic. You were right. I was wrong. I apologize. I don't have any interest in the 1 or the 2 then. How about that? Cleveland's going to take care of their series at all. But what I am always interested in helping you guys win a little bit of that cold, hard cash. So this is what we're going to do. Rob's going to hit a little NBA music, and I'm going to give you some of my favorite bets for round 1 and also some futures so you can have a vested interest in this year's NBA playoffs like I do. Hit me, Rob. This is my favorite bet of round 1 of the NBA playoffs. You can get the Knicks and the Lakers to win each of their series by at least 2 games. Combined, plus 250. I think the Pistons have had a very good year, but we see this in the NBA playoffs. You're a team that had a good regular season. You're a team that's been bad in recent years. You were just happy to make the postseason, but you haven't experienced anything. You're going up against Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. You're going up against a veteran, experienced, playoff, battle-tested, proven team. I think the Knicks take care of business, and I think they win that game, that series in either 5 or 6. On the other side, with the Lakers, I just think the Lakers have too much firepower. I actually think the Lakers are too good defensively. I don't really see Minnesota making that much of a series. So you can combine the Knicks and the Lakers to win their series by at least 2 games. You can get that at plus 250 right now. That is my favorite bet on the NBA playoffs. If you want to really try to take a big swing. You can either bet the Knicks in 5 and the Lakers in 6, or both in 6, and you can make a little bit of investment and potentially get a big return. All right, I will give you my futures bet for the NBA Finals. I think we're looking at the Celtics and the Lakers. I do not think that Cleveland is a legitimate NBA Finals threat, and I think the Lakers are coming out of the West. If you bet that right now is the NBA Finals, you're getting that at 10-1 in the NBA Finals, the Celtics and the Lakers. Some individual round 1 series bets that I like. You can get the Clippers in 6 at plus 340. You also can get the Celtics in 5 at plus 190. We know how this Celtics series is going to go. One game, Paulo will give you 30-something. The Celtics won't shoot it well enough. They'll win one of the games that we'll look at it like a gentleman sweep, and the Celtics will advance to the second round of the postseason. Those are the handful of bets that I like the most. I like the Knicks and the Lakers. You can get them at plus 249 to win by at least 2 games. I like the Celtics and Lakers to go to the NBA Finals. You can get that at 10-1. I like the Clippers in 6 over the Nuggets at plus 340, and the Celtics in 5 at plus 190. Those are a couple of my NBA playoffs futures bets.
Explain why you hate the 1 seeds. Is it because there's no star power? Is it that simple? Like, I know Donovan Mitchell's a star, okay? SGA is a star, but they don't have the same cachet as Luka or Tatum or Brown or LeBron. Is it that simple? Because it is not unique to you. But 2 teams that dominated the NBA regular season. The Thunder won the West going away, and the Cavaliers also handily won the East. Is it as simple as, they just don't have the same star power? Because it's not just you. I've seen a lot of NBA voices just discounting the 1 seeds, which to me seems wild based on their accomplishment in the regular season. Why is everyone, you included, just brushing past the 1 seeds?
I think there is an inherent belief in the NBA to pick against the team until you actually see them do it. The NBA playoffs, usually there are steps that are required. Think about the Celtics. They kept kind of bumping their head. They went to the finals one year and lost, and then they eventually got through. I think Cleveland has taken a big step forward this year. They are the 1 seed. This is what I'll ask you. If this becomes a tight series, I know where the offense comes from the Celtics. It comes from Jason Tatum. It comes from Jaylen Brown. It comes from Derek White. It comes from Kristaps Porzingis. Is there another player on Cleveland that you trust aside from Donovan Mitchell? And are you going to trust your playoff livelihood on Darius Garland and Evan Mobley? I'm not at that point. Same question I'd ask you for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should win NBA MVP. If you were going up in a series against the Lakers, I know they got 2 guys on that other side I think can go for 30. And I think that Austin Reeves could give you 20 in that. Do you trust that many guys on the Thunder? So some of it is I'm going to go with tried and true and tested in the postseason. I've seen LeBron take a team to a finals. I've seen Luka take a team to a finals. I've seen the Celtics do it now multiple times. I've never seen Cleveland or Oklahoma City do it, at least not this group. So I'm going to bet against it. I'm taking the Lakers and the Celtics 10-1 to make the finals.
I get what you're saying. But again, I feel like you're discounting at least Cleveland a little bit. Cleveland led the NBA in points per game going away.
You and I both know NBA regular season, there is not a sport that we watch that the regular season and the postseason are 2 drastically different games like the NBA. And we see this happen all the time in the NBA, especially in the East. The Chicago Bulls in the regular season, the Atlanta Hawks in the regular season. It is now postseason time. I don't care what you did in December that does not matter starting tomorrow. What you did in February does not matter anymore in the NBA. It matters a little bit in the NFL. It matters a little bit in baseball. There is no sport that the regular season product and the playoff product is night and day difference the way that it is in the NBA.
I mean, I don't disagree. I just feel like for 2 teams that won their respective, or took the 1 seed is a better way to say it. They didn't win their conference, took the 1 seed in their respective conferences and was great looking doing it. I feel like they're being brushed off a little too quick. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to win MVP. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. He's going to win the MVP. The Thunder were top 5 in the NBA this year in scoring, which was better than the Lakers and better than the Celtics. But it's just, hey, they had the MVP and they can score a lot in the regular season. There are levels to this. We're going to just go with LeBron and it feels a little lazy to me. I feel like maybe people who hate the NBA will come along if it's a great team beats a great player. Maybe the NBA needs that, and maybe the NBA ratings are so good they don't need something, but it feels like if you get the Thunder, who are more of a collective unit, beating the Lakers, that might be something to attract the average fan a little bit back to the NBA, because right now it is very star-driven.
So those are my favorite bets for the NBA playoffs. We have a couple of games today to determine who's going to be the 8th seed, and then we have 4 games tomorrow, and then we have 4 games on Sunday in the NBA playoffs. I will say this about the NBA. I know that it is not all of you guys' favorite cup of tea. I do think that one of the big criticisms for the postseason has been eliminated. It is not predictable anymore. It used to be fairly predictable, I would say, in round one. That is not the case anymore. If you look at the last handful of years since we've gotten out of the bubble in the NBA, it has not just been all 4 of the top seeds advance. We saw a 1 seed lose in round one a couple of years ago when Milwaukee lost to the Miami Heat. We have seen the Mavericks make the NBA Finals. We have seen the Pacers make the Eastern Conference Finals last year. The NBA playoffs are not nearly as cut and dry and copy and paste as they've been in year past. I would highly encourage you guys to check it out this spring and see if you are a fan of the NBA playoffs. Coming up at the top of the hour, let's get back to local. Let's get back to the Kansas City Royals. Josh Vernier will join us on the show. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
Hey, it's MJ Melendez from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
There are some exciting new menu options at Gates Barbecue. It's Carrington Harrison here from The Drive, telling you about my favorite barbecue restaurant in town. Check out the Gates Burnt E Mac. It is some delicious mac and cheese that is topped with some Gates Burnt in. It's a meal all by itself. You also can get the onion ring split, so you get a little bit of that classic Gates fries. You also get some of their delicious onion rings. They also have the chicken link, which I had it a couple of days ago. Absolutely tender. It's got that classic Gates flavor, that seasoning to it. It's definitely worth checking out. It's getting warmer outside, so that means you are taking the grill out of the garage and you are planning on cooking for yourself. So make sure you got some of that classic Gates sauce and seasonings for whatever your meal is. We're also heading into the summer and the spring, so the next time you go to the grocery store, make sure you're equipped for all of those things and make sure that you include Gates Barbecue. You don't have to just do that. Maybe you're still trying to figure out dinner plans. Go in today and make sure that you have that taken care of. There's a lot of barbecue options in town, but there's one that is a cut above the rest, and you know where it is. It's Gates Barbecue.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to truegreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Nia.
Hi, Nia. It's Jennifer. Did you know that Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, I work here.
Okay. I was just double checking. Get it?
Because Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, you get me, Nia.
You could say that I double get you.
I guess we've taken it too far.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Men, is good enough really what you want with your sex life? This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if erectile dysfunction is making a bad bedroom experience for you and your partner, you should call us because you want your intimacy to be fantastic, both for you and the one you love. At Heartland Men's Health, our treatments have success rates of well over 90%. And because we're a medical practice focused on men's sexual health, we can offer many treatment options and even combine treatments to find the right one for you. Which means if you're like most of our patients, we can likely get you performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and make a change from good enough to really good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health plan.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
You could think you found your dream home online. The kitchen island looks perfect for your inner chef. The backyard, a paradise for your green thumb. And that extra room, hello walk-in closet. But here's the twist. The lot next door just got rezoned for years of construction. And this sound, yeah, you're gonna be hearing a lot of that. Don't let your dream home turn into a nightmare. Work with the expertise and ethical training of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect you from the surprises you didn't see coming. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors, right by you.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Your chance to win $965 plus an autographed Chiefs helmet as part of our draft contest when we broadcast live from the Landing in Liberty during the first round on April 24th. The Fans Draft Party. 96.5 The Fan. KFNC FM and AM. HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey Sports Station.
We were just talking a little NBA, and I was giving you my favorite bets for round 1 of the NBA playoffs, from a league that scores all the time to a team that very rarely scores. Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Josh Vernier to talk about a team that has scored 8 runs in the last 6 nights. How are you doing today, Josh Vernier?
Oh, man, I'm doing quite well. C-Dot, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. I'm sure there's a musical artist that, maybe your wife listens to, maybe on the radio, where you hear a song, and then you hear another song from that artist, and another song. You're like, man, all these guys' songs sound the same. Like, you just made the same song repeatedly and repeatedly. I feel like that's what every Royals game is like. Like, you have watched the same Royals game for 5 straight days.
Bro, you're 100% right. Listen, the post-game show last night, I could have ran the previous 2. The issue was they were playing a different team. And every night, yes, the offense disappoints for the most part. The big names don't come through as often as they did last year in the big spots. Outside of Cole Reagans, the rotation's been good, but not as dominating as it was out of the gates last season. The defense has been, fine, but when the Royals are good, the defense is more than fine. It's one of the best in all of baseball. The base running is non-existent because you don't have base runners. Yeah, and that has been, as you point out, repeated throughout this road trip, this sizable road trip, C-Dot, that we talked about last Friday. Still searching for that second win, and once again, hoping Cole Reagans can deliver. They haven't won since the last time he was on the bump.
It feels to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, that there are 2 kind of camps right now. There is a camp of it's early and that you shouldn't be overreacting. Look, we've only played 3 weeks of the baseball season. I think there also is another side, and that's the side that I'm on is if you look at this team and the lineup they're trotting out there, it's not much different than the lineup that they had in September and in October, and they are struggling. So I'm not looking at this as just a 3-week issue. I'm looking at this as now they have had 2 months of where they have struggled to consistently put up runs. I guess what side of this are you on, or do you think it's a hybrid of the two? Do you think it's too early to kind of panic and worry about their offense, or are you worried because there is just so much carryover from the team that made the playoffs last year?
Well, I think it's too early to panic. I don't know how fair it is to lump this first month of the season with the last month of last season because of the Vinny Pasquantino injury. But I also don't think that you should say all is well, nothing to worry about. There's still 142 games yet to play. Again, no reason to panic, but there's also no reason to bury your head in the sand. Okay, last September, no doubt about it, the offense was brutal, but it was also an offense that was so desperate they brought in Tommy Pham and Robbie Grossman and Yuli Gurriel. Now, Pham and Gurriel still getting it done at the big league level, but at the time, boy, that sure was a desperate those were desperate additions after you lost a guy in Vinny Pasquantino. Too early to panic, but don't bury your head in the sand because prior to that terrible month of September, the offense was, middle of the road, 15th, 16th best in Major League Baseball. It wasn't anything to write home about, and yet it featured 3 guys that were certainly worthy of writing home about. Salvi and Vinny last year, along with Bobby Witt Jr., were 3 of the best 15 hitters in Major League Baseball when it came to hitting with runners in scoring position. Salvi and Vinny last season combined to, when it came to ducks on the pond, right, the big moments, they hit 343 combined. This year they're hitting $188. I think they'll turn it around, but do I think they'll be top 15 in Major League Baseball when the season's done? I don't know. Bobby's playing well. Bobby's an all-star. He's an MVP candidate. But last year he put together, C-Dot, one of the 10 best seasons any shortstop has ever put together in the history of the sport. So you don't need to panic 20 games into the season, but repeating what you did last year offensively is unlikely. So if you're not going to get that Herculean effort from the big 3, who's going to step up? Jonathan India was supposed to be one of the bats to step up. Hasn't happened so far. Michael Garcia's filled in and done what you expected to see from Jonathan India. But they need more, man. They need more from Vinny. They need more from Salvi, first and foremost. But those guys need some help because to think that they're going to be all-world again, Salvi at 35, it's asking a lot.
And that's why, at least for me, and I can only speak for my own feelings, my own frustration, is part of what has upset me about the commentary is it feels like the whole plan is, well, wait on Vinny and Salvi. And I understand, you mentioned the big 3 in the foundation and the core of this team, and that makes a lot of sense. But could we potentially be looking at a scenario where this team is 14 and 23, and then you get Vinny, and then you get Salvi? Because, and maybe this is scar tissue from Royals teams in the past, I've seen a lot of Aprils where they've played themselves out of anything meaningful because they've dug themselves in such a hole. And it usually, the hole they dig, it kind of looks like what their offense is digging for them right now.
Yeah, but even at, what would you say, 15 and 23, 14 and 23, they're still in it. The division won't be over. The final wild card spots won't be over. Yeah, 8 and 12, no doubt, is certainly disappointing. It's 4 games under. They were never 4 games under 500 last season, so that's new. I understand, and yes, I do think some of it has to do with scar tissue because keep in mind, this 8 and 12 start, since that championship season of 2015, this 8 and 12 start has been topped only 3 times. 2016, 2021, and last year. So 8 and 12, normally we're having a much better time with 8 and 12 in Kansas City. So the scar tissue, yes, is obvious. But I'll reiterate, man, if it was up to me and you could tell me one aspect of the team is going to be top-notch over the first 20 games, I would choose that facet to be the rotation, and that's what's happened. You have Reagan's on the hill tonight, Lugo coming up tomorrow. Yes, you're facing down the barrel of Tarek Skubal on Sunday, but with Colorado coming to town, man, this thing could feel very different this time next week on the backs of the pitching, yes, but also just on the backs of those big three. Yes, they need some help, but for as dire as things may feel, it can change very quickly.
Right now, we're joined by our guy, Josh Vernier, talking a little Royals baseball here. Happy to have him join us on the show today. Do you think because of the rest of the struggles that maybe people have focused a little bit too much on MJ Melendez? I know he is off to a really rough start. He is certainly part of the problem, but he is not the whole problem. But it seems like MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe, they are taking a majority of the criticism on how this offense has started.
Yeah, no, it's do they deserve a majority of the criticism? Maybe not, but I think a lot of the criticism is fair. You know, Renfroe's yet to produce for a 2-month stretch since signing that contract with the Royals, and you know what it's really about. Again, for as much pressure as there is on Vinny and Bobby and Salvi, what this team is missing is more thump. Right? They only have 10 home runs this season. There's a guy in Oakland that has 9 all by himself. Every team has at least a dozen home runs, and the Royals are stuck on 10. The guys that can hit home runs that you can legitimately expect to run into 20, 25 home runs, they have that type of talent, are MJ Melendez and Hunter Renfroe and Michael Massey, the 3 most disappointing bats so far in 2025. Yes, Salvi and Vinny are disappointing, but we at least have a track record to fall back on. Hunter Renfroe has a track record, sure, but that track record is getting pretty hard to see in the rearview mirror, so I don't know how much solace I take in the fact that he was someone you could rely on. Yeah, they're getting too much, but C-Dot, you've been around long enough. Chris Getz, Omar Infante, Nicky Lopez, yeah, guys at the bottom of the lineup often take the brunt of the criticism because in their hearts, even the haters still like Bobby and Vinny and Salvi, and they don't want to crush, just like they didn't want to crush Hosmer and Moose and Kane back in the day.
I just look at it with MJ Melendez, and I think part of what has kind of fueled the frustration is all offseason we were told that his swing was improved, that they had worked on it, that they had fixed it, and he seems to be as lost and as far off from the target as possible. Like, there was, like, real hope and optimism about MJ. He was a guy that could catch. He was a guy that could play in the outfield. He looked like a guy that had all of the tools. The player that is currently playing for the Royals doesn't look anything like the guy, at least what we projected him to be 3 years ago.
Well, he's the athlete, right? He's still the defender. He's, metrically one of the best defensive corner outfielders in baseball. But no, he's not the 20 to 30 home run prolific power guy that many people expected him to be. Certainly, MJ has been disappointing. No way around that. Yeah.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Vernier here for a few more minutes. Now, Josh, I'm going to ask you this question. I've never asked you this question before, and I know how people are going to hear it, but I have to ask you the question. What if last year was the last great Salvador Perez year? Because usually you don't continue your level of production at his position at his age. He's going to be 35 years old in less than a month. And the fact that at 34, with the amount of games that he has caught, he hit 271 with 27 home runs and 104 RBIs. Like, that is one of the better catching seasons in the history of the league. You and I both know the end usually comes a lot faster than people want to acknowledge it. I think there is a lot of belief that Salvi is going to turn things around. And he's certainly a better hitter than what he is. But what if Salvi isn't Salvi anymore? Can this offense save itself?
Well, early returns would certainly say no. No, there's not an answer if you don't have a very good Salvador Perez. And last year he was very good. I'm not saying I need the 48 home runs that we saw a few seasons ago, but I need better than league average. I need a guy that comes through in the big spots. If that guy doesn't show up, and I still believe he will, to be the type of player that Salvi is, that he was at the age of 33 and 34, the way that he comes back from injuries. You don't become a Hall of Famer and not have another gear, right? If it's going to be the toughest flame to snuff out, a lot like, a Travis Kelce. Just when you think he's done, there's a little bit more. But to your point, even Kelce, like Salvi, they'll all eventually reach that wall. But no, there is no replacement, again, unless Hunter Renfrow, Michael Massey, and MJ Melendez become those players that we thought they were going to be. And one more note about MJ. You mentioned the swing changes and how encouraged everyone was. A lot of that encouragement was from the outside, right? People that saw the changes and were hopeful for MJ. But I didn't hear much from the organization of them touting that MJ was fixed or that these swing changes would pay dividends immediately. It was a hope. There was hope that he would. There was excitement that he was willing to change, right? You can't be stubborn, especially when you don't have a track record. So I think there was excitement that he was willing to evolve, willing to try something new. But no, so far, he is certainly not going to be the guy to replace Salvi.
Right now, we're talking to Josh Vernier here for a couple more minutes, getting his thoughts on the Royals. Vern, give me something positive. I feel like for the last 15 minutes, I've just thrown negative questions at you, and I don't want to be negative about the Royals. If you've been watching this team, it's hard to be super excited about the product that you are watching right now. It is not all bad with the Royals. You look at a guy like Maikel Garcia, he's been really good. You mentioned the rotation. It is not all bad with the Royals. What have you been most encouraged by with this club?
Most encouraged. Maikel, what I'm seeing from Maikel, I knew that was in there. The question is can he do it over an extended period of time? So I wouldn't say that's the answer. Bobby, no, we knew he was a stud. Chris Bubich jumps out at you, but, especially that start in New York. I thought that was a pretty big spot for him. The first time in his career as a starting pitcher, team with the back up against the wall. Team with real expectations, pitching on the road, and I thought Bubich answered pretty well in his start the other day in the Bronx, 5 1/3, 3 earned runs. Yeah, maybe Chris Bubich would be the most encouraged, because, it's nothing defensively, nothing on the base paths. Offensively, Maikel and Bobby are the only ones worth a darn right now. I knew Cole Reagans was a stud. I'm questioning Lugo and Waka for the rest of 2025. Bullpen, you lost Hunter Harvey, so I can't say that. Boy, it hasn't been the best 20-game start, but I've seen a lot worse. The answer to the question, though, would be Chris Bubich.
You mentioned the Rockies coming up, and they'll be in town next week. How much of this do you think is the schedule? Because I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm not making it seem like this was the lightest schedule that you possibly could have had. I also don't know if it was the toughest. I think they've just played like opponents. You look at Cleveland, you look at Baltimore, you look at Minnesota, the Milwaukee. They've played teams, I think, around what the Royals are. I do think there is a certain level of hope that, all right, we should be able to get right just a little bit starting next week, and we are going to have a little bit of relief from the schedule. Is that kind of what you're holding on to, that all you got to do is get past this series with the Tigers and the schedule is going to lighten up just a little bit?
Yeah, it's still big league teams. You got to hit, you got to defend, you got to run the – no, they're not – they haven't really played very good baseball. They've played fine baseball. Good baseball at times. I think there was one game on that recent homestand that stood out to me as maybe a great all-around effort. But honestly, so far, especially on this sizable road trip, they've looked like a third-tier team. Top-tier teams like the Yankees and Dodgers, where it's World Series or bust. Second tier, which is where the Royals need to be, where it's playoffs or bust, where you carry yourself expecting to win on a nightly basis. In New York, at times in Cleveland. Last night, at times it feels like you're on that third tier where, man, we just want to have a fun summer. Can they at least get us through the summer? We're done with those get us through the summer days. So, what I want to see is just them play a better brand of baseball, some tighter defense. Do something that I can say, wow, you might be able to bully a team with that. The bullpen was showing signs of that early, and then Hunter Harvey went down with the injury, so that's That's gone up in flames. The rotation's good. But again, I'm curious about Lugo and Waka as this season goes on. Can that trio with Reagans, can they really bully opponents? Yes, I think they can keep you in every game, but can they be the reason why you win on a nightly basis like they were last year? Those are the things I'm watching for.
A couple more questions here, Vern. Are you a frosty malt individual or a frozen lemonade?
Frosty malt out of the two.
Do you get the wooden spoon or do you ask for a plastic one?
Whatever comes with it, but I would prefer a plastic one.
Are you a Dippin' Dots guy? I've taken a lot of grief on this show for being someone who loves Dippin' Dots. Where are you at?
Yeah. I mean, I'm never buying it, but if someone offers it to me and they'll pay for it, yeah, I'm all about it.
I like Dippin' Dots. I don't know. Maybe because it's just so different. I like the flavors about it. I like Dippin' Dots. The text line hates it, though.
It's just a rough look. It's a rough look with the little cup and the little spoon, bringing it to your mouth. It's a tough look.
I am excited to come out to the ballpark. I'm going to try to come to one of these games against the Rockies. I'm going to try to come just because I think they might score in those games and they might win. It's been a while since I felt like that about the Royals. I just want to see it for myself.
The two worst offenses in Major League Baseball coming to Kauffman Stadium starting on Tuesday night. Should be fun.
I'll get you out of here with this question. It's Rockies related. The Rockies have already fired their hitting coach. Now, the Rockies are in way worse position than the Royals are. The Rockies, I mean, they might as well start football season in Denver. Their baseball season is completely over. Could you see the Royals doing something drastic early in the season, or is everybody just taking the company stance, hey, we are going to stay patient, we're going to keep towing the line, and eventually we'll get out of this?
Yeah, the latter. Royals have fired their hitting coach this early into the season. Terry Bradshaw, a few years ago, they gave him the pink slip and tried to make him wear it for the team being awful. No. And again, the Royals have three hitting coaches. You know, if three of the best, right, you're in the big leagues, you're doing something right, you're at the height of your profession. If three dudes can't get through to these guys, maybe it's the guys and not the coaches.
That is our guy, Josh Vernier, joining us on the show today. Always excited to talk to him. Vern, man, great stuff as always, man. You know what? For your sake, not for my sake, not for any listeners, I want the Royals to score 9 runs today. I just want them to score. I don't even care if they win or lose. I just want you to just see them hit the ball and move the line and look like a team who could possibly come out on the other side.
Let's all bet the over. Let's do it. I'm with it.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm not in the business of donating money to FanDuel. You might be in the business of donating money to them. I'm going to find other things to do other than Royals overs. I appreciate you, Vern.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
That is Josh Vernier joining us on the show today. You know how wild you got to be to bet the Royals over right now? I mean, I'm not saying it can't hit. It's gambling, right? Anything can happen. When you think something is a sure thing, I'm taking the under for sure, the over will absolutely hit. You know how wild you got to be right now to take the over on the Royals? What's their over today on run score? Just individual.
4.5 for the Royals.
As a singular team?
It's 4.5 for the Royals, and I believe I saw 7.5 for the game because it's Reagans on the hill.
What's the odds for the under? Just Royals runs?
I don't remember the odds. I just remember those are the numbers.
Well, I know this. If you've been rolling over minus 4.5 runs for the Royals, you've been rolling that over. You might be able to retire right now for the last. They haven't done that in 3 weeks. They haven't scored more than 4 runs. Just carrying and rolling it over. I mean, today's the day they win 5-2. I mean, we know how baseball works. They win 5-2 today.
All right, so the under for 7.5 total runs is minus 105. Over minus 15. So I mean, there's a little bit of something there. If you want to make that bet, let me find the Royals total runs. That's the real fun one. Royals total runs. The under of 4.5 is minus 146. The over of 4.5 is plus 114.
Yeah, of course, of course. It's absolutely plus money for them to hit the over. Let me ask you this: do you think that the average fan, the general public, is keeping up with how Jack Caglione is performing in the minors? Because we are here at the office. We have a sheet. It gets updated constantly. This is where Jack Caglione is as of right now. He is hitting .224. He has an on-base percentage of .298. He has hit 3 home runs in 12 games. He has 15 RBIs, and he has struck out 14 times. Now, I'm not here telling you that Jack Caglione is a bust. I'm not telling you that he is not good. I'm not saying any of those things, so don't take it that way. I know how you guys feel about Jack. I think it's going to take a little bit more time than you guys are anticipating. And I would not look at him right now as being someone who is in a position to come save the Royals offensively. Now, if he was hitting 400 and he was really forcing your hand and forcing you to do something, maybe that's a direction you would go to kind of swing things in your favor and kind of shake things up a little bit. He's not playing well enough for us to be having the conversation about him coming up to help the big league club right now. But he's not supposed to be helping the big league club right now. He's played less than a month of minor league AA baseball. He's played less than a month. He's 21 years old. So it's just going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take a little bit of time. He's hitting 220 and has a less than 300 on base percentage and has struck out 14 times in 12 games at AA. He is not ready to be playing for the Royals right now, and that's perfectly fine. He shouldn't be ready to play for the Royals. That's not on track with kind of guys at his position. So I hope, maybe, possibly, I haven't seen it of late, I hope we're not having the CAGS conversation yet, because I think it is incredibly premature to be having that conversation. Coming up on the other side, let's get back to the NFL draft for just a little bit, because I think everybody that loves the draft, everybody that thinks that they are a armchair general manager, they have all been in a very familiar place. I'll tell you where that is. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Hello, Kansas. Looks like we're in for another heat wave this season with a forecasted high of up to $300,000. That's right. The Kansas Lottery is bringing the heat with the Hot Sevens family of tickets rolling across our state. You could instantly win up to $300,000. Plus, there's even a chance at up to $20,000 in the second chance drawing through Play On. Talk about a scorcher. Don't forget your oven mitts when you head out today. See kslottery.com for details.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at Shanco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Good credit, bad credit, no credit. Rawhide Harley's accepting all credit applications. Bank reps on speed dial to help get you approved. Bankruptcy, divorce, even repos. Let Rawhide Harley Davidson get you financed on a new Harley today. Visit rawhideharley.com.
On approved credit.
Hey there, I'm Jack.
And I'm Stag.
We're just two deer that want to make sure you know it's deer season at your authorized John Deere dealer. The deer season that saves bucks. You know? Like us?
Yeah, you can get $3,000 off select John Deere machines. No early wake-up calls or tree stands required.
Just a trip to your authorized dealer before June 2nd.
If you ask us, it's the only deer season worth celebrating.
Visit johndeere.com/deer season to find an authorized dealer and for complete finance details.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunkt Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21. Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit Fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE, SIPC.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Stalled out car, 169 highway, southbound lanes right at the Broadway Bridge. Right lane closed, so some traffic around it. Heavy into downtown, northbound 35. And some slowdowns southbound 35 between 635 and Johnson Drive. There's a two-car crash on the shoulder at 635. Further down, we've got one blocking the right lane at Johnson Drive. So heavy traffic between those two. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
All of us that watch college football and watch the NFL believe that we can be draft analysts. We all believe it. I think that it's fun. I don't mind people filling out their mock drafts. Sure, your chances of getting them right, they're not much different than the professionals. We see Mel Kiper's mock drafts. We see Daniel Jeremiah. They miss on picks. You're allowed to give your analysis and picks and predictions on how you think guys are going to be. You're going to get stuff right. You're going to get stuff wrong. Even the professionals do that, so have at it. I am a believer that everybody that watches college football or the NFL has had a quarterback they were sure was going to be a franchise guy, and you missed. I mean, you missed bad. Not a little bit. Not like, oh, hey, I think Tua can be the next thing. And then Tua turns out to be a good starter in the league, but he didn't know. I mean, you thought Josh Rosen was it. I'll give you my two. I used to fall for the Pac-12 every single time. I remember when Matt Leinart was coming out of USC. And Matt Leinart, you remember, was a top 10 pick. He got drafted by the Cardinals. And not just drafted by the Cardinals. This was when the Cardinals had Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. Rob, you could not it was like the perfect situation. You were going to give this great college quarterback all of these weapons around him, convinced that Matt Leinart was going to be the truth. I was wrong. Another Pac-12 quarterback I fell for it with was Joey Harrington. Remember Joey Harrington out of Oregon? He was like 6'4", had a little bit of mobility, big arm, was convinced that Joey Harrington was going to be a good starting quarterback in the league. I was wrong. There's no shame in missing on the NFL draft. Everybody misses. Text line 913-586-7965. Who was your quarterback? I'll even go through some Chiefs draft picks that I was convinced, man, I really love this pick. But why don't we start with quarterbacks? Rob, I know you got a couple of QBs that when you saw them get drafted, I thought the league was unnecessarily harsh on Josh Rosen. I thought they disliked Josh Rosen because he was too smart. Remember coming out of college, he was a little smarter than everybody else. He had a kind of a smart mouth, and they were just real critical of him. And I'm thinking, why are y'all hating on this guy? Got flamed out of the league, wasn't in the league 3 years later. Maybe they knew what they were talking about. Who's that guy for you?
Jimmy Clausen.
Oh, you fell for the Clausen.
I fell for Jimmy Clausen. That was probably around the time I was freshman, sophomore in college. And I remember, first off, Mel Kiper was selling that dream harder than anyone.
Yeah, 100%.
I was buying what Mel Kiper was selling because, remember, at that time, college football had begun its pivot. There was now, the spread was starting to come more in vogue. Oregon was a thing. Like, locally, Kansas and Missouri and even K-State, they ran a variation of the spread. Mike Leach's air raid. Like, the traditional under-center quarterback was starting to become a little bit extinct at the college level. And Jimmy Clausen played for Charlie Weiss at Notre Dame, and he would get under center and 7-step drop, boom, and he had a big arm. And remember, they had that one bowl game against Hawaii where he would just throwing lasers all over the field. I thought the NFL needs NFL-style quarterbacks, and that these spread guys aren't going to work. And a person like Jimmy Clausen, who's been running an NFL system his entire college career, is going to come in, hit the ground running, and you're going to see college begin to pivot back because the spread is killing them in the league. I was wrong. The NFL just joined the spread revolution, and Jimmy Clausen was a career backup. I don't even know he's a career backup. He was a backup for a while and then washed out of the league. But I was buying Jimmy Clausen hype. And remember, he was at one point the top recruit in the country, and he from California. The whole thing with Jimmy Clausen I bought into.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, I remember you liked Marcus Mariota as well. I still contend that Marcus Mariota was going to be a good quarterback. I just think the injuries are what derailed him. Marcus Mariota's first 2 years in the league, he was trending to be a good quarterback in the league. I just think his body fell apart. I don't put Marcus Mariota in the category of you were wrong if you believed in him. There certainly was some guys that you were wrong on. I don't put him in that same category. Let me give you two Chiefs picks that now looking back, like, man, I was on here selling dreams to you guys. DeAnthony Thomas is at the top of my list.
I think he's the top of every Chiefs players.
When they got DeAnthony Thomas in the 4th round at pick 124, because you and I watch a lot of college football, he was explosive at Oregon. Explosive. Now, I didn't think that he was going to be I didn't think he was going to be a star player in the league, but I was thinking, hey, if you got Tavon Austin in the 4th round, and you got a guy that can be Shakir for the Bills, maybe is a good example. Khalil Shakir. Man, if you got that guy with a little bit more elusiveness in the 4th round and you can have him be an explosive returner, hey, I thought that DeAnthony Thomas was going to be a very, very good player. I would also say I fell for it with Nile Davis, too. SEC running back. Arkansas usually does a really good job of kind of having former running backs turn into decent pros in the league. I thought that Nile Davis, certainly with where you selected him, I thought he was going to be very good bang for your buck, a great value pick. Those are two guys I'll throw out there. I'll also give you, Rob, I'll give you a Missouri guy that I looked at when they got drafted like, oh, this is going to work out. Remember Ziggy Hood? Ziggy Hood that got drafted by the Steelers. Late 1st round pick, got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Perfect landing spot for Ziggy Hood. Thought he was going to be a good pro. His career didn't turn out that way. But two Chiefs guys I was wrong on, DeAnthony Thomas and Nile Davis, and Ziggy Hood for Mizzou is another Mizzou player that I thought got drafted in the right situation and was going to have a much better career than he turns it out having.
I got two Chiefs, but I have a question about the first Chief that I fell for it with. He's not technically a draft pick, but I fell for it hard with Marcus Cooper. I know he wasn't really a draft pick, but he was part of that like wave of undrafted guys they brought in.
A lot of people were selling that Marcus Cooper hype.
I thought he was the diet Richard Sherman. He was long, he was athletic, and then you found out he was running in quicksand. That one may not count as a draft pick, but that one. And then you know what? I thought John Baldwin was better than Julio Jones. Like, remember when Scott Pioli said that?
Oh, my goodness.
Remember when that story came out that Scott Pioli was talking to Thomas Dimitroff?
I was never in all the way on Jonathan Baldwin. Yeah, I never fell for it like that. I'm not saying I thought he was going to bust the way that he did.
Yeah, I didn't think
but you
want
to know how I knew? This is when I knew that you guys were in line about to get took. The two plays we talked about the most from John Baldwin were, remember, he made this magical catch in OTAs, but we never saw the video from it. Like, every Chiefs player back then was telling you how amazing this catch was. And if it was that good, we would have saw it. I know this was like before social media got going. If it was that good, we would have saw it. And he made that great catch against the Broncos that didn't count, and everybody was just holding on to this catch that he made. And I'm like, no. I never fell for it with John Baldwin the way that a lot of other people did. I'm proud of that. I fell for some other ones. Dexter McCluster every year at OTAs. We've all fallen for our fair share. I never fell for the John Baldwin.
I remember the story came out. It was like post-draft. The story came out that, Scott Pioli was telling his buddy Thomas Dimitroff, you don't need to take Julio Jones. You can wait and take John Baldwin. And then Scott Pioli took John Baldwin. And, he was good at Pitt. As a college football fan, I remember him being good at Pitt. He was a guy that, he was chasing a lot of Larry Fitzgerald's records. I thought, and he was doing it with no quarterback at Pitt. I thought the Chiefs had found something, and I won that. And remember, that was the time where every Chiefs fan, myself included, was like, they need a number 2 wideout because Dwayne Bowen bums. And I thought they had found it. They didn't.
Is there a player that you got right, that you kind of pat yourself on the back? Now, I know no one will give me credit for this. I wish I had kept the audio. I saw it with Russell Wilson very early. He just had something. There's like a player, you just see it really early on. If you watched him back at NC State, I think you saw it with him. I also think you saw it in Wisconsin. I still maintain Russell Wilson was the best college football player that year. If you remember, Wisconsin lost 2 games that year. Both of them were on last-second Hail Marys. That's the only reason why Wisconsin didn't go undefeated and why they didn't have a chance to win the national championship. I will pat myself on the back and say that I saw it with Russell Wilson.
In a Chiefs sense, I knew there was nothing there with Tyson Jackson. Does that count? Tyson Jackson?
Oh, that was when they went through that LSU. Remember, they just every year they would just draft somebody from LSU. They did it for 3 straight years in the first round.
I remember it was.
They also got Glenn Dorsey too. Yeah.
I remember the big selling point on Tyson Jackson was no one clogs the middle more, and I'm like, that's not an impressive skill to draft at 5 overall. So I was right. He wasn't that dude, but I don't know. That's gloat worthy that everyone knew the bust was going to be the bust.
Well, just let me know. Text line 913-586-7965. Is there a player that you pat yourself on the back on and you're like, hey, I saw this guy before. I got it right on this guy. That person for me would be Russell Wilson. I think I saw it very early on with Russell Wilson. I've also gotten picks wrong. That is just kind of how this thing works. All right, coming up on the other side, let's get back to the Royals. They have had a rough week. We'll talk about it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Here's today's 6-man picks, presented by DraftKings Pick 6.
The play-in tournament wraps up tonight. In the late game, consider picking Klay Thompson to have less than 14.5 points. He's only averaging 11 per game this month, and this number is likely inflated due to his high-scoring game against Sacramento. On the other side, Desmond Bane feels likely to have more than 21.5 points. He's been rolling lately and has eclipsed this number in 4 of his last 5 games.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and lock in your picks before tip-off with code MyPicks. That's code MyPicks for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable all full Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Red Hot Car Giveaway. Only at Harris, Kansas City. Saturday, April 26th. One lucky winner will win a brand new Red Hot Lexus ES350. Harris is giving away $2,500 in free play every 15 minutes from 7 p.m. till 10:45 p.m. At 11, 2 winners will receive $5,000 in free play, and 1 person will win $10,000 cash. And 1 person drives home a brand new Lexus ES350. Visit our website for full details. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Whether you're digging a pond, clearing brush, grading property, or doing demo, Foley Equipment, your local Caterpillar dealer, is your one-stop shop. Buy or rent, Foley Equipment has the machines you need to get the job done. And right now, Foley has 0% financing on new cat skid steers, mini excavators, and compact track loaders. Stop by any Foley Equipment location today or visit us at FoleyEQ.com. That's FoleyEQ.com.
Hey, baseball fans, there's no better place to bet the long ball than BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Swing big on your home run bet with BetMGM's Home Run Boost token. No opt-in is required. Just log in to your BetMGM account to receive your Home Run Boost token. Then activate your token when you place a bet on any player to hit a home run. If that player goes yard, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is the best place to bet the long ball. Don't miss your chance to claim your MLB Home Run Boost token. The action is on deck at BetMGM, the king of the big swing. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason. Hello, Toby. Holy cow, you've done it again.
We've done it again, Toby. We won the President's Award again this year. This is the 22nd time we've been awarded this awesome honor from Ford Motor Company.
But what is the President's Award?
The President's Award is the top award Ford Motor Company gives its dealers for excellence in customer satisfaction in both sales and service and their sales penetration numbers. So we are super honored to have received this award for the 22nd time.
It covers the whole works at Lewisburg Ford.
Absolutely, and it's a testament to the awesome people we have working at Lewisburg Ford and helping our customers, and it really shows with this award because it's only a few dealers that get it, and we've done it 22 times.
I guarantee you this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck in the Midwest.
Absolutely. You couple that President's Award lineage with our no-hassle Toby Tobin pricing, it does not get any better than that.
What is your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Or LewisburgFord.com.
Oh, by the way, Ivan's no longer on the project. His wife got a new job, so they're moving across the country.
Robin's top researcher is deviating to a new market. This isn't standard.
And now we're short-staffed. Who's going to finish all these projects?
She needs a cluster of new data analysts, and there's no margin for error.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at KansasSpeedway.com.
Royals coverage sponsored by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Step up to the plate and hit a home run with Casey's best airport parking. It's Park & Go. Great service, low price, zero hassle, open 24/7, and all spots are covered. Don't get caught looking. Strike three. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com.
Here's traffic
Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Emergency vehicles tending to a collision northbound 35 at 635 on the left shoulder. The collision itself was on the southbound lanes of 35 at 635. So just some heavy traffic as you get through that area. Also still heavy northbound 35 into downtown, and a stalled out car blocking the right lane of 169 highway at Broadway Bridge. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with CDOT on 96.5 The Fan.
Some exclusive media news. This is from Front Office Sports. Shannon Sharpe, he has a podcast deal with Colin Cowherd. He is part of the Volume Podcast Network. That deal is expiring. Shannon Sharpe has received multiple offers for his podcast. He has two. He has the Club Shay Shay podcast. He also has the Nightcap one that he does with Ocho Cinco. He has received multiple offers and is expected to sign a deal, Rob, that would exceed $100 million. So the two podcasts that Shannon Sharpe has signed, he is about to cash out on both of those. He had the big interview last year with Cat Williams that went super viral last year, and he's just continued to be in the news cycle. So Shannon Sharpe, getting away from Skip Bayless is one of the best business decisions that he has made. It looks like he is about to sell his two podcasts for $100 million. That is being reported right now by Front Office Sports. Let's talk about this. Let's get back to the Royals. I don't say this to be negative. I say this as just an observation. Some of you are watching the Royals every single day, and I think you could possibly attest to this. I think the Royals right now are the worst kind of team to watch and cheer for. And it's not anything with the front office. It's not that they got a group of bad. None of those things. They don't score. I made the analogy earlier with Vernon. I think it applies. Some of you love music. And when I mention this kind of artist, there's an artist that comes to mind. They make the same song over and over and over. That you hear him, it's like, wait, this song sounds like this song. This guy just keeps making the same music. When is he going to do something else? It does feel, Rob, that we have been stuck in Groundhog's Day with the Royals for now 2 weeks. Every Royals game for the last 2 weeks has essentially been the exact same game. Every thought that I have about the Royals, what I thought about the Royals today is the exact same thought that I had last Friday about this team. It just feels like we are in this holding pattern where we are just simply waiting for something to change with the Royals. Now, maybe that is a position coach changes. Maybe that is they do a drastic shakeup with the lineup. Maybe they bring somebody up, at least when it comes to something. But a team that you watch every single day or every single week that can't score is by far and away the most frustrating team to cheer for. It would be better if the Royals were losing these games 9-7. And it was just guys were hitting home runs and guys were hitting doubles and guys were stealing bases. And yeah, they were losing, but they were doing so in like a fun, entertaining fashion. There ain't nothing entertaining about watching them put up 1 to 2 runs every single night. Or feel like even when they get off to an early start and they're up 2-0 in the second inning, man, you know that's just not going to be enough to hold it. The Royals have one hitter right now that is hitting over 300. They have 9 home runs as a team, or 10 home runs as a team. The major league lead right now for an individual is 9. They are dead last in home runs. There are only 3 teams in Major League Baseball that have scored fewer runs than the Royals. Like, they are not putting a fun and exciting product on the field. I know at some point, now we're not going to be the ones to do it. I think we did that enough last year, but someone is going to criticize the attendance. Hey, why are you guys not going out there? Are the Royals putting a product out there that you want to go watch them play on a Wednesday so you can watch them score 1 run? It just feels like we are stuck in Groundhog's Day, and every day, every game, every talking point for everybody feels like it's the exact same. They just can't score enough runs, I think, to really hold your interest or be exciting.
And I think, and it's a conversation we've had, but I think you see the glass half full, glass half empty as a viewer or a listener every single night. Because they can't score, but they are a good pitching team, you feel like you're in every game. Like, I was out and about doing some stuff last night, getting some dinner with friends and family, and I was watching the game, and it's, the 3rd, 4th, 5th inning. It's 1-0. It's 2-0. It's 3-0. 3 runs in baseball should not be a death sentence. You felt like, oh, the Royals are still in this game. They had the bases loaded at 1.1 out. You feel like, okay, this is where the offense breaks through. It's 4-1. They might be able to get back in this game. They're so close, and that's the glass half full. Hey, they're never out of it because they're pitching, but the glass half empty exists in every game too. Because now Cole Reagan's going tonight, and Cole Reagan's very good, but let's say he gives up 4 runs tonight. Let's say you're headed into the 6th inning, and it's 4-2 Tigers. As a fan, you think, oh, there's no chance they're getting to 5. They cannot get over this hurdle of 4 runs. It's just insurmountable. So you feel like, yes, it's so close, but also so far away. And that's why I think Royals fans fall in those 2 camps, where it's like the one camp's like they're in games, they'll break through. And the other camp is like they can't score. You can never break through if you don't score. I think you see that exact conversation in every singular game.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, last week you were arguing that the Royals were giving us a competitive team. Remember the kid with the C-plus grades? I mean, I still feel that way about the Royals. I don't think the Royals are losing 100 games. I think they're too talented and too good for that. I also don't think that their offensive troubles are going to last enough. But I think the expectations for the Royals have simply just changed. I think the Royals can win 78 games. I would deem that to be competitive, and this year is going to be a failure based on what we expected them to do at the very, very beginning of the season. This is the only fear that I have about the Royals at this point. Are they taking on too much water that ultimately, when they try to fix some of the problems, they have just created too much of a mess for themselves? And I said this to Vern. Maybe this is just scar tissue from watching Royals teams in the past. Man, I've seen a lot of April Royals baseball teams that looked a lot like this one. A whole mess of them. Most of our lives, we have seen a Royals team in April that looks like this one. And my fear is one day we will wake up, we will blink, and next thing we know, the Royals will be 14-23, and they really got to play incredible baseball to get to a point where they can get back to making the postseason. But I still maintain, if the goal for the Royals is to not embarrass us anymore and be a team that can win 77 games this year, I think they've accomplished that. If the goal is to keep our interest and intrigue until football takes over and then we can move on from the Royals, I still feel that way. But the hope for the Royals this year wasn't just that they were just going to keep status quo. It was that the Royals were going to improve. It was that the Royals are going to be better. Very little about this team so far through the first 3 weeks of the season feels like they are a better team or a better product than what they've given us, at least not last year. We can keep this Royals conversation going. I also want to get back to the NFL draft. We are less than a week away from round 1. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Emergency vehicles tending to a collision northbound 35 at 635 on the left shoulder. The collision itself was on the southbound lanes of 35 at 635. So just some heavy traffic as you get through that area. Also still heavy northbound 35 into downtown, and a stalled out car blocking the right lane of 169 highway at Broadway Bridge. I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5, The Fan Traffic.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week and then receive free support for life. Awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey guys, it's Cody Tapp, and I'm down 30 pounds in 6 weeks thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. And now I get free support for life. Make the same great decision I did and give them a call, 844-346-1800, or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
There are some exciting new menu options at Gates Barbecue. It's Carrington Harrison here from The Drive, telling you about my favorite barbecue restaurant in town. Check out the Gates Burnt E Mac. It is some delicious mac and cheese that is topped with some Gates Burnt in. It's a meal all by itself. You also can get the onion ring split. So you get a little bit of that classic Gates fries. You also get some of their delicious onion rings. They also have the chicken link, which I had it a couple of days ago. Absolutely tender. It's got that classic Gates flavor, that seasoning to it. It's definitely worth checking out. It's getting warmer outside, so that means you are taking the grill out of the garage and you are planning on cooking for yourself. So make sure you got some of that classic Gates sauce and seasonings for whatever your meal is. We're also heading into the summer and the spring, so the next time you go to the grocery store, make sure you're equipped for all of those things and make sure that you include Gates Barbecue. You don't have to just do that. Maybe you're still trying to figure out dinner plans. Go in today and make sure that you have that taken care of. There's a lot of barbecue options in town, but there's one that is a cut above the rest, and you know where it is. It's Gates Barbecue.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thank you for making Total Wine & More America's #1 online source for spirits, beer, and wine. Better than all those delivery apps. Total Wine's prices are up to 30% lower with super fast delivery and no hidden fees. Order direct at TotalWine.com and pay less today.
Drink responsibly, B21. Your life, your goals, your legacy. With a dedicated Fidelity advisor, it's all part of a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Visit fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE, SIPC.
When dealing with erectile dysfunction, you want the right treatment for your specific needs. And every case is different, and finding the right solution can make the difference between okay and amazing. That's why Heartland Men's Health is Kansas City's leader in treating men's sexual health issues. ED can cause anxiety, stress, and a strain in your relationship, yet many men suffer silently without seeking treatment. Intimacy is one of life's greatest experiences, but ED can completely destroy it. Heartland Men's Health offers treatment when herbs and pills don't work. With success rates of over 90%, some treatments can help you last an hour or more, so why settle for good enough? Your first visit is just $99, which includes a medical consult, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work, then your visit is on the house. Heartland Men's Health has 3 locations to serve you in the metro: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City. Pick up the phone today and change your life. Call this number, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com today.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Do you know a coach who goes above and beyond? The Royals, the CU and the Major Leagues Foundation, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City are recognizing those impactful men and women. Nominate your high school coach at royals.com/coaches with character.
At Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank, we're partnering together to help make your goals become lasting legacies. Through bespoke plans that maximize your wealth and partnerships that give you peace of mind. Because building wealth, tending to it, and passing it down secures a brighter future. Together, we're building extraordinary impact in business, wealth, and community. Busey Bank and CrossFirst Bank. Member FDIC.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. With 56 million winning tickets last year, anyone can win big. So set your destination to winning, like gas stations, grocery stores, or anywhere you can buy a ticket. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Hey, baseball fans, there's no better place to bet the long ball than BetMGM, an official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Swing big on your home run bet with BetMGM's Home Run Boost token. No opt-in is required. Just log in to your BetMGM account to receive your Home Run Boost token. Then activate your token when you place a bet on any player to hit a home run. If that player goes yard, you'll score a bigger payout. No matter the showdown, BetMGM is the best place to bet the long ball. Don't miss your chance to claim your MLB Home Run Boost token. The action is on deck at BetMGM, the king of the big swing. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See betmgm.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards vary and expire in 1 to 7 days. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Our biggest deal is back. The tires at cost sale at Telly Tire and Auto Centers. You pay what we pay. No gimmicks, no catch. All in-stock tires from Telly's huge inventory at cost. Plus mounting and balancing by certified tire technicians for only $27.95. The top brands, the lowest possible prices, with a 30-day ride guarantee and lifetime tire protection. There's never been a better time to replace your worn-out tires. These unbeatable savings won't last long. Hurry and reserve your tires today. Take care of your car. Take advantage of our sale. Take it to Telly. Additional charges apply for junk tire disposal and road hazard warranty.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
Welcome back into the drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Really excited to be here with you on this wonderful, wonderful Friday. We are off a little bit earlier today with everything that is going on with the Kansas City Royals. They are in Detroit. Rob, have you ever been to Detroit before? That is one of the major cities that I have not had the fortune of going to. I certainly would love to go to Detroit. There's some things there historically I'd like to see. I'd like to see the old Motown building. Also like to go to the Ford Museum. There's some things I like to do in Detroit. I've also heard that the downtown is actually kind of going up a little bit right now, but I've never been to Detroit. Have you been?
I have never been to Detroit. I wouldn't say no to a trip to Detroit, but I don't think it's high on my, got to go to Detroit list.
That's kind of why I feel like, why, number one, would I be going to Detroit? What am I going to Detroit for? Like, I don't know if I want to see Motown enough that I am going specifically on a trip to go do this. I don't want to see it that badly. But if I was up there, like maybe say Chiefs were playing the Lions, I make a weekend of it. Maybe but then you would do something like that.
For you specifically, for that example, you run into weather. Let's say it's Chiefs and Lions in November. You're not going up to Detroit. It's cold. It's like Chicago cold, windy and off the lake.
You know, I don't mind that. I don't mind putting a coat on. I mean, I'm not excited about it. Is it going to be snowing, though? I'm not out there maneuvering and grooving if it's going to be snowing outside. I don't have any interest. I don't have any interest in dealing with your city snow. I got to deal with my own city snow. I'm now going to travel to go to where it's snowing for you guys? Absolutely not.
I mean, there's some places I would travel where it's snowing. Like, if I went to New York in Christmas time, that'd be cool. There might be snow, but that's just part of the game. If I did an Alaskan cruise and there was snow, that's just part of the game. Detroit to watch Chiefs and Lions would feel like a lot of maneuvering for snow.
All right, I'm going to remove Chicago from the White Sox just because I think they would be the automatic answer for this. Tomorrow, if they told you and I that we had to relocate and we had to either move to Cleveland, Detroit, or Minnesota, which one of the three would you be like, all right, that's where I want to go? Because Chicago's cheating. Chicago's not comparable to the other ones. We can't live in Kansas City anymore. We have to move to another American League Central city, and it's not Chicago. Which one would you pick?
Minneapolis?
I think that's the one I'd pick, too.
Because, for us,
I mean, I wouldn't be excited about either one of those options. I would not be thrilled about any of these three options. But if you told me I had to pick one of them, I think I would pick Minnesota.
Yeah, I think it'd be Minnesota. I think it's close. What would be second on your list in that grouping?
Cleveland.
That's what the two.
I've been to Cleveland once, and I don't think Cleveland's as bad as people say that it is.
I've had friends go to Cleveland and say it gets a bad rep, but it's still kind of like the same as you. Like, oh, I'd love to see Detroit. Kind of the same vein.
Yeah, I think I would pick Cleveland out of those things. I will say I would be excited about we pick up an NBA team in the process. We move to any one of those other cities. I'd be very thrilled about picking up an NBA team in this hypothetical analogy that you and I had to move. I'd be very excited about having to cover the Minnesota Timberwolves moving forward. That'd be great.
I mean, if you worked in Cleveland, you'd be covering a lot of Ohio State football. That's their second pro team. I mean, they like the Cavs. They like Cleveland, the Guardians. They love Ohio State. I don't know if I could do 365 Ohio State recruiting shows. I couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, that sounds very similar to what we have right now with Kansas. It would just be a team that I would actually like.
That's a lovable product that brings in the best players in the country via basketball. Like, watching Darren Peterson hoop brings me joy. Watching, I don't know, Jeremiah Smith play football is not going to bring me the same amount of joy.
It would bring me joy. I'd love it. I'd be great. You know what? I'd be excited to cover a college football team that can make the college football playoff and can win it. I'd be thrilled to do that in this. Let's get back to the Chiefs. Well, let's talk a little bit of Royals here. We're off at 4:30 today because of the Royals. So we had Trevor Sycamore on the show earlier today. He covers the draft for Pro Football Focus. He is their lead draft analyst. He had something very interesting to say about the draft. Now, I think we have narrowed this down. And if you are a believer that Vegas knows, Vegas is telling you that they believe the Chiefs are going to draft someone in round 1 on the offensive or defensive line. Now, they obviously could go against that, and Vegas gets things wrong sometimes, but there is a big gap in odds for them drafting a corner or a safety or a wide receiver. Now, we don't know what the draft board says. Maybe Luther Burden is sitting there at 31, and the Chiefs feel like the value is too good. We have to take a playmaker at wide receiver. But I do think that we have locked in just a bit that I expect the Chiefs to take someone on the offensive or defensive line. This would be my logic on either side. If the Chiefs are taking an offensive lineman in round 1, it continues to me what I think they have. I think their message for the offseason has been this. We believe that our core is still good and there's still one more year left in what we have. But in 2026, we are going to start to transition into a new era of Chiefs football. Almost every deal they signed this offseason was a one-year deal. They didn't really take a splash. And if they did take a splash, it was for Nick Bolton, who's 25 years old. It was to Trey Smith, who's 25 years old. All the other contracts that they signed were smart one-year deals that they can get out of at the end of this season. I don't think the Chiefs' plan for 3 straight years is going to be to keep running back the team that lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think their plan is going to be, hey, this is a team that won 17 games last year. Let's bring that core back. We like a lot of those pieces. And then let's see how it plays itself out next year. But I think the Chiefs are starting to transition to a team that has a much younger foundation. Kelsey is getting up there a little bit. You look at some of their other pieces. I think the Chiefs need to start building a team around a 30-year-old Patrick Mahomes and putting as many young 20-somethings around him on cost-controlled deals. So if the Chiefs want to plan ahead, they are going to need a new right tackle for next year. You don't have to be an NFL executive to see the writing is on the wall. This is Juwan Taylor's last year for the Chiefs. So are the Chiefs going to be proactive and get ahead of it? We're going to take Kelvin Banks. We're going to take Joshua Simmons. We're going to take Connerly Jr. from the Oregon Ducks. And we're going to draft the offensive lineman. We are going to develop him. And then next year, when we know we will have an opening, instead of looking around in free agency to fill it, we already have a first-round pick and 4 more years of club control to fill that void. Jalen Moore is still a relatively young player. We are looking at the future of what we think our offensive line is going to be, and the Chiefs can potentially already have that in the fold in just one more selection, and we can know right now what their 2026 offensive line is going to be. Or if they go on the other side of the ball and they go D-line, I think they are looking for a much more immediate helper. I think if you were taking another defensive lineman, you can't keep telling me that every defensive lineman you were drafting is a pick for the future, especially when your D-line this season appears to be so thin. The Chiefs don't have 4 or 5 legitimate pass rushing options. I mean, they got 3. You got Chris Jones, Charles Omenihu, and you got George Karlaftis on the other side. If an injury happens, if a guy doesn't play up to the back of his football card, you put yourself in a position where maybe at the deadline, you got to go out and you got to get a lot more punch up front and ability to go get to the quarterback. Well, you can solve some of that now by drafting an edge and developing him. And by the second half of the season, you have given him enough snaps. You have given him enough reps that he's ready to go. You've seen that happen, and that has been a theme with some of their first-round picks. We've seen it happen on the offensive side last year with Xavier Worthy. That happened with George Karlaftis, who was much better in the second half of the season than the first. I think they could follow that formula one more time. Here's Trevor Sycamore.
If you want an offensive tackle, if that is what you want, you should draft one at the back end of the first round because it just becomes much more difficult to find a starting caliber offensive tackle, even one who might wait his turn a little bit when he gets into the league a little bit later in the draft. Whereas defensive linemen, edge rushers, defensive tackles, I think the Kansas City could absolutely find those guys on day 2, even in the later portions of round 2 and round 3.
If you are looking for long-term solutions at tackle, especially ones that are cost effective, the best place to do that is on Thursday. The best place to do that is not in March. The best place to do that is not in October when you are kind of picking through guys who are injured and who are in their 30s, and their deal is about to expire. If you are looking for a long-term answer at right tackle, which the Chiefs currently on their roster, they do not have. The Chiefs do not have a long-term answer at right tackle. I would argue right now that they don't have a long-term answer at left tackle. They have an idea at left tackle, and we'll see if their idea is right. But you only got Jalen Moore on contract for 2 years, and it gives you an out at the end of this first year if he doesn't play up to your level of expectation. So if the Chiefs want to redshirt somebody and they want to prepare themselves for 2026, this draft class, I think, allows them that ability to do so. I don't think the Chiefs are in any position. I don't think they're in any position where right now they have to do something in round 1. I think they really can go in a lot of different directions. If Burden drops and they take Luther Burden, great. I think you could argue they got the best wide receiver in the draft at pick 31. That is a phenomenal place to be in. If the Chiefs want to go corner and they are thinking for the future, I think that's a great idea as well. They've given themselves a lot of roster flexibility. But if you are thinking of stashing a pick, I think left tackle or right tackle and planning ahead for the future, just knowing that you can get a premium prospect and you also get a year in which whoever they draft on the tackle is not starting this year. There's nothing you can do with Jawan Taylor's contract. Nothing. It is locked in. There's too much dead cap, and you are not trading him this year, and you've already made the play to go get Jalen Moore. This is a draft pick that is not going to help you in 2025, in theory, unless an injury happens. It is a player that you are looking for towards the future. But what if they go on the defensive line? What if they want to get somebody who can instantly step in and help day one? Here's some of the suggestions from Trevor Sikkema. He is the Pro Football Focus draft analyst.
An edge rusher like Braden Swinton, for example, from LSU, is somebody who I think the league could be pretty high on. Maybe a JT Tuimoloau from Ohio State. Those guys there on the edge could make sense. Yeah, maybe a guy like Landon Jackson gives you that length, that uniqueness that I feel as though the Chiefs continue to gravitate towards at that position. Maybe even a Nick Scorton from Texas A&M. These are players who I think all could potentially be available for them at the back end of the first round. If you want to go more towards the interior, I love an Omar Norman-Lott. I think he'd be awesome next to Chris Jones. He is somebody from Tennessee who he's a little bit shorter. He's a little bit sawed off, if you will. Doesn't have the great length, but man, he's got an incredible first step. He's somebody that really knows how to convert speed to power. He can win very quickly. 88.3 pass rush grade against true passing sets last year. Wasn't used very much as a run defender, so might be a little one-dimensional when you draft him, but you could potentially mold him into that three-down player when you have him playing next to a guy like Chris Jones. Maybe a Darius Alexander from Toledo as well, who had a really good final season, a little bit older of a prospect, but somebody who played great this past year in the MAC and then played very well at the Senior Bowl as well. He was one of the major standouts and somebody that was getting some first-round buzz after his week in Mobile. So I think those are a handful of players that you're thinking about there at the back end of the first two.
Text line 913-586-7965. CDOT, when I hear luxury pick, I think of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. No thanks, go get a lineman. I hear what you're saying. I understand the fear of them going in this direction. I don't have a fear of them going in this direction. I don't think they're taking a running back. And, I mean, I would say that they took the safe lineman that everyone wanted. He has 3 sacks in 2 years. They spent the first-round pick on a lineman with big upside, a lineman that they gave a year to kind of sit and redshirt. They did that a couple of seasons ago. And Felix Onyeudike-Uzomah he has made 3 starts in his career and has 3 sacks in 2 years. So I think there is no foolproof plan with where they are in the draft. There are no perfect prospects at this point, certainly not on the offensive line or defensive line. That's why I think they're in a position that if you want to kind of think ahead, and that's why I think Joshua Simmons makes the most sense for them. He is a guy who tore his ACL in the second half of the college football season. You can allow him an extended time to get healthy and get right. And you can have him fully healthy and ready to go for 2026 as a guy that started 2 years in the Big Ten at Ohio State. I think he is the best case scenario if you were trying to project this thing out for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's the direction that I would go if I'm them, if he's on the board. If you believe Matt Miller, and Matt Miller's going to be on the show next week from ESPN, he is hearing that the Chiefs want to move up to the middle of the first round. If the Chiefs want to move up to 21, then you are not moving up for a running back. You are not moving up for a wide receiver. The Chiefs are then moving up because they have identified an offensive lineman that they love, and they are starting to plan for 2026 when they could really shake up their offensive line. This year, they shook it up a little bit, for sure. You went out and you got Jalen Moore. You also traded Joe Thuney. That's a major shake. The Chiefs could be in a position of having to replace their right tackle, and I still think their left tackle has to be viewed as a question mark because we've never seen him get starter reps in the National Football League.
I think it's Josh Simmons is the name I like, but and maybe this is where me and the Chiefs and Brett Veach are seeing this offseason differently, and they have acted, like you said earlier, like it is run it back time and that we're fine. But drafting a guy in the first round to essentially redshirt him and learn, and hey, maybe he can be a right tackle and they move on from Juwan, or maybe he's better than Jalen Moore and he's the long-term plan at left. It just seems like a redshirt pick is a foolish pick to me. I would prefer a player who can make an impact on the field immediately. That's what I want from first-round picks, like the way they got immediate impact last year from their first-round pick. But Joshua Simmons, I think, is the most viable and good left tackle. I just don't like the idea of, hey, we're drafting for 2026 and that during the 2025 NFL draft.
I want to play one more cut for you guys. I know we got to hand things off to Vern here very soon. Here's Trevor Sikkema. You know that I'm big on running back. I want this team to take a running back. I'm looking at the second or third round. They have a late second round pick and an early third round pick because they have Tennessee's pick from the L'Jarius Sneed trade. That's where I want them to kind of look. Here are some options that he sees for them at that position.
Round 2 or round 3, right? That seems to be the sweet spot for the position and the value and how much of an impact player you could get. The two guys that I look at for them, Dylan Sampson from Tennessee and then Travion Henderson from Ohio State. Those are the two that I think can complement their room the best as it is currently constructed. So I think that even for next year, they're able to get in the lineup. They can really produce the way that they need to. They give them the speed element that's missing from that room right now. And then moving forward, I think both of those guys could be early down backs as well, not just speed backs, but players who can obviously be dynamic and difference making for them. And you could really totally lean on them in any situation. So I think it is. It's round 2, it's round 3, and the two names that keep coming to for the Chiefs that make the most sense are Dylan Sampson and Travion Henderson.
I would be thrilled, absolutely delighted if those are the two running backs that they pick up. I think Dylan Sampson last year might have been the most underrated running back in college football, which doesn't make sense given he was maybe the best running back in the SEC. I just don't think he was getting enough national conversation last year for the kind of season that Dylan Sampson put up last season. If you're telling me that's the plan for them at running back, sign me up. If they're going to get, I'll take either one of the Ohio State running backs to be the Chiefs' number 1 back. Love them both. Last year, Dylan Sampson averaged 5.8 yards per carry and had 22 touchdowns last season. Now, he is not a pass-catching back. He only had 143 yards receiving last year at Tennessee. So he is not a guy that's going to be that dual threat. So maybe that doesn't make him very viable for the Chiefs. But if you want to talk about a legitimate home run swing, a guy with a nose for the end zone, and a guy that dominated major college football, I don't think you can do much better than Dylan Sampson. I'd be very happy if that's the direction that they go.
Dylan Sampson would be a great name. I feel like there's a lot of good running back names where, like, if they got Ollie Gordon in the 4th, they're not going to complain to me. Dylan Sampson's a great pick, but I think there are a lot of great name options at running back for the Chiefs.
All right, we are off early today because of the Royals. We'll be back to our normal time next week. Really excited to help get you guys ready for the NFL draft. We got a lot to get into next week. Until then, take care of yourself, and I'll let Daniel Craig take you home.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
Hey, it's Lucas Ursig from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to The Drive with C-Dot on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by DM Injury Law.